Welcome. Today we are going to talk about exposing domestic violence in the church. Please note, this is not a ploy to criticize the church or leaders in their approach to domestic violence victims, but an approach to expose the theory or the thought that domestic abuse does not happen to Christians. This is a very dark subject that blatantly dominates the walk of a saint in Jesus Christ. How is that possible? Join me as we begin to unveil this secret taboo that is happening right in our churches all over the world. Now, I believe a person who is involved in domestic violence or any kind of verbal abuse and emotional abuse cannot make Jesus Lord over their lives, because the abuser rules over their heart and mind, leaving the person unable to think correctly, living in constant fear rather than loving submission to God and each other. Let's not get religious now, it's common sense. Think about this. Is it possible that when an abusive spouse demands complete controls of their partner's time, thoughts, actions, how they look, and every part of their being, are they making an idol of themselves? Think about this. When God says we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and an abuser says their spouse is stupid, worthless, ignorant, ugly, are they calling God a liar and saying they are right and God is wrong? Or when an abuser physically hurts their spouse, is not their body a temple of God? So is the abuser taking authority to destroy the temple of God? So what's the answer? Well, let me put it to you this way. If Jesus was in a room with you and witnessed you getting knocked about, would he clap and say, "Bravo"? I don't think so somehow. I know the God I serve is a God of love, not a God of abuse. Before I say the next bit, let me make this quite clear. I am in no way an advocate for separation or divorce, but somehow safety comes to mind, which I believe is the most important thing. May I now be as bold to say that surely the church does not expect an abused victim to remain with a spouse who persists in this abuse, or do they? Why then is there no freedom in certain churches to talk about this? Why is everything so hush-hush? Like all of a sudden you become a leper. When will the church stop wrapping chains of bondage around the abused victims? How much more do they want to help the enemy? Think about it. When churches demand that abused victims stay in an abusive marriage, are they participating in idolatry? We should be helping victims to safety, not holding the doors to their cages shut. Luke 4 verse 18 to 19 says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recover the sight of the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised." Are you telling me that this does not apply to domestic abuse? I beg to differ, my friends. What leaders don't realize is that when they don't stand up for abuse victims, by default they stand up for the abuser. The victim needs the protection of the church leadership, at least standing up to say this person is getting separated or divorced with cause. We know about it, we know the details, and we agree that this cause is valid. So why will pastors not take the stand for the abuse within the churches? One, they don't want to make a mistake in taking sides, but think about this. The problem with this is that when pastors will not take sides, well, they are taking sides. They are taking the sides of evil and leaving the abuse abandoned in their abuse. Talk about aiding and abetting. Are pastors afraid of creating division in the church? So by saying nothing, pastors are calling evil good and enabling evil to continue. Or could it be that pastors don't want to be guilty of putting asunder what the church believes God has put together? As I outlined in my book, Stop Hurting Me, Time to Get Out, on physical and emotional abuse, the Bible has more to say about the issues of abuse. I suspect when pastors fail to take a stand against abuse in marriages, they're afraid of either making a mistake that would earn them the disapproval of church members who have the power to ruin their career. Silence and denial is not the answer. The truth will set you free. Jesus said it, not me. Are you living a secret life full of lies and fears? Have you sought help from your pastor but to no avail? Are you losing sight of God, or are you more focused on when the next episode of violent outbursts will come? Let's bring this issue out of darkness and into the light. If there's going to be any beating, it will be in the enemy's camp. Put on your armor. Let's do this. Join me on Facebook and YouTube under Kim Backus Solutions and post your comments there. And don't forget to check out kimbackus.com, where you can sign up to receive some great information and purchase some resources that will enrich your life.